Act 5, Scene 3. The entire scene is set at night, so the language is in contrast to much of the play that has been predominantly set in the sun and daylight. It reminds us of the first time Romeo and Juliet met, when the band of Montague boys carried torches to the Capulet party. The fact that this scene too is lit by torchlight nicely balances the ideas in the play. It marks the end of Romeo and Juliet's story. They met in the dark, moved into the bright light of their mutual love through the metaphor of the poetry, and finally returned to darkness. So, let's go to the churchyard. We're outside the Capulet family monument. Paris has brought flowers to put on Juliet's tomb, and his page carries a flaming torch.
Give me thy torch, boy. Hence, and stand aloof. Yet put it out, for I would not be seen. Under yond yew trees lay thee all along, holding thine ear close to the hollow ground. So shall no foot upon the churchyard tread, being loose, unfirm with digging up of graves, but thou shalt hear it. Whistle then to me, as signal that thou hearest something approach. Give me those flowers. Do as I bid thee. Go.
So Paris doesn't want anyone to know he is visiting Juliet's tomb. Maybe it would be seen as a weak act to cry for a lost love at her tomb. He mentions there are yew trees, a tree commonly planted in churchyards. But Shakespeare draws attention to them to emphasize the great change of circumstance. On the night Romeo and Juliet first met and spoke at her balcony, they were surrounded by fruit-bearing trees, life-giving trees, but now only trees of death surround them.
Oh, I'm almost afraid to stand alone here in the churchyard, yet I will adventure.
Sweet flower, with flowers thy bridal bed I strew.
Paris places flowers at the door to the crypt. It was a tradition for the bridal bed on a wedding night to be covered in flowers, and Paris makes this connection. This was, of course, meant to be their wedding night.
Oh, woe, thy canopy is dust and stones, which with sweet water nightly I will dew, or wanting that, with tears, distilled by moans, the obsequies that I for thee will keep, nightly shall be to strew thy grave and weep. My lord! The boy gives warning. Something doth approach. What cursed foot wanders this way tonight, to cross my obsequies and true love's right? What, with a torch? Muffle me night a while.
Paris is angry to be interrupted in his farewell to Juliet, but moves away and hides in the shadows. Romeo and Balthazar arrive, kitted out with tools to open the tomb.
Give me that mattock and the wrenching iron. Hold, take this letter. Early in the morning, see thou deliver it to my lord and father.
He has written a letter to his father. It outlines all that has happened, his love for Juliet, their marriage, everything up until this last desperate act.
Give me the light. Upon thy life I charge thee, whate'er thou hearst or seest, stand all aloof and do not interrupt me in my course.
Balthazar has been loyal to Romeo for years. He would try to stop him taking his own life, and so Romeo makes Balthazar swear he will not follow him into the tomb. He makes up a story that he's retrieving a ring from Juliet's finger.
Why I descend into this bed of death is partly to behold my lady's face, but chiefly to take thence from her dead finger a precious ring, a ring that I must use in dear employment. Therefore, hence, begone. But if thou jealous dost return to pry in what thy father shall intend to do, by heaven I will tear thee joint by joint, and strew this hungry churchyard with thy limbs. The time and my intents are savage wild, more fierce and more inexorable far than empty tigers or the roaring sea.
I will be gone, sir, and not trouble ye.
So shalt thou show me friendship. Take thou that.
He presses money into Balthazar's hand.
Live and be prosperous, and farewell, good fellow.
Well, if Balthazar was worried that Romeo was going to do something stupid before, he's sure of it now. So Balthazar shakes his master's hand as if to leave, but tells the audience that he's going to hide nearby instead.
For all this same, I'll hide me hereabout. His looks I fear, and his intents I doubt.
So both Balthazar, Paris, and his page are hiding in the dark. Romeo now addresses the tomb itself.
Thou detestable Moor, thou womb of death, gorged with the dearest morsel of the earth.
More means stomach. He sees the tomb as having eaten or consumed his love. He wants to prise open its mouth and be eaten too.
Thus I enforce thy rotten jaws to open. And in despite, I'll cram thee with more food.
This is that banished, haughty Montague that murdered my love's cousin, with which grief it is supposed the fair creature died. And here is come to do some villainous shame to the dead bodies. Oh, I will apprehend him.
Paris thinks that Romeo, a Montague and mortal enemy to the Capulets, has come to mutilate the corpses of Juliet and Tybalt. He moves into the light and confronts Romeo, drawing his sword.
Stop thy unhallowed toil, vile Montague. Can vengeance be pursued further than death? Condemned villain, I do apprehend thee. Obey and go with me, for thou must die.
I must indeed, and therefore came I hither. Good gentle youth.
Romeo calls him youth, when in fact it's Romeo who is the younger of the two. Remember, too, that Tybalt called him boy in their argument. Well, this just shows that Romeo has grown and matured. He may still physically be a young man, but in terms of life experience, he far outstrips Paris. He urges him to leave now.
Tempt not a desperate man. Fly hence and leave me. Think upon these gone. Let them affright thee. I beseech thee, youth, put not another sin upon my head by urging me to fury. Oh, be gone! By heaven, I love thee better than myself, for I came hither armed against myself. Stay not. Be gone. Live, and hereafter say a madman's mercy bid thee run away.
I do defy thy conjurations, and apprehend thee for a felon here.
Wilt thou provoke me? Then have at thee, boy!
And they fight.
Oh, Lord, they fight! I will go call the watch.
They fight on until Romeo strikes a fatal blow.
I am slain. Oh, if thou be merciful, open the tomb. Lay me with Juliet.
In faith, I will. Let me peruse this face.
Lit by torchlight and almost blind with anger, Romeo doesn't even know who he fought and killed. Now he looks into the face of the dead man.
Mercutio's kinsman. Noble County Paris. What said my man when my betossed soul did not attend him as we rode? I think he told me Paris should have married Juliet. Said he not so, or did I dream it so? Or am I mad, hearing him talk of Juliet, to think it was so?
He realizes that Paris, like himself, is a hapless victim of fate.
Give me thy hand. One writ with me in sour misfortune's book. I'll bury thee in a triumphant grave.
He lifts the dead man and drags him into the tomb where Juliet lies. Now, we know she's just asleep, but to Romeo, she appears dead. When he first saw her, he said that she generated light, that she doth teach the torches to burn bright. Well, here, in this dark tomb, her beauty still shines and fills the place with light.
Great. Oh no. A lantern slaughtered youth. For here lies Juliet. And her beauty makes this vault a feasting presence full of light. My love. My wife. Death that hath sucked the honey of thy breath hath had no power yet upon thy beauty. Thou art not conquered. Beauty's ensign yet is crimson in thy lips and in thy cheeks, and death's pale flag is not advanced there. Tybalt, liest thou there in thy bloody sheet? What more favour can I do to thee Then with that hand that cut thy youth in twain, to sunder his that was thine enemy. Forgive me, cousin. Dear Juliet, why art thou yet so fair? I will stay with thee, and never from this palace of dim night depart again. Here will I set up my everlasting rest, and shake the yoke of inauspicious stars from this world-wearied flesh.
This is a very strong image. He talks about shaking the yoke. A yoke is a piece of wood placed on the shoulders of a person or an animal to enable them to pull or carry heavy loads. So he means to shake off the burden of these unlucky stars from his body. This is a useful quotation, as it is essentially the last decision Romeo ever makes.
Eyes, look your last. Arms, take your last embrace. And lips, oh, you the doors of breath, seal with a righteous kiss, a dateless bargain to engrossing death. Come, bitter conduct. Come, unsavory guide. Here's to my love. Oh, true apothecary. Thy drugs are quick. Thus, with a kiss, I die.
Now our attention shifts from inside the tomb with Romeo and Juliet to outside in the churchyard as Friar Lawrence crosses the graveyard with his crowbar and spade, ready to break into Juliet's tomb and rescue her. If only it arrived a few minutes earlier. But this is a tragedy, and Shakespeare is incredibly adept at building suspense and irony.
How oft tonight have my old feet stumbled at graves. Who's there?
Here's one. A friend, and one that knows you well.
Ah, bliss be upon you. Tell me, good, my friend, what torch is yon that vainly lends his light to grubs and eyeless skulls? As I discern it burneth in the Capel's monument?
It doth so, holy sir. And there's my master, one that you love.
Who is it?
Romeo.
How long hath he been there?
A full half hour?
Come, go with me to the vault.
I dare not. My master knows not, but I am gone hence, and fearfully did menace me with death if I did stay to look on his intents.
Stay then. I'll go alone. Fear comes upon me. Much I fear some ill, unlucky thing. Romeo! Romeo! Alack! Alack, what blood is this which stains the stony entrance of this sepulchre? Romeo. Oh, pale. Who else? What? Paris, too, and steeped in blood. Ah, what an unkind hour is guilty of this lamentable chance. The lady stirs.
Uncomfortable friar. Where is my lord? I do remember well where I should be, and there I am. Where is my Romeo?
I hear some noise. Lady, come from this nest of death, contagion, and unnatural sleep. A greater power than we can contradict hath thwarted our attempts. Come, come away. Thy husband in thy bosom there lies dead. And Paris too. Come, go, good Juliet. I dare no longer stay.
Go, get thee hence, for I will not away. What's here? A cup closed in my true love's hand. Poison, I see, hath been his timeless end. Oh, churl, drink all and left no friendly drop to help me after. I will kiss thy lips, haply some poison yet doth hang on them. Thy lips are warm. Yea, noise. Then I'll be brief. Oh, happy dagger. This is thy sheath. There rust. And let me die.